Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Lee, back bringing you some more NBA news and updates. Day 2 of the NBA playoffs is officially over. With that being said, you already know that we're going to have a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Let's go. For our first story of the day, Kevin Durant is back in the news once again, defending his decision to join the Golden State Warriors for the 1000th time. Defending his move, justifying his move, whatever you want to call it, that's what he's doing once again. As Kevin Durant now says that the move that he made to the Golden State Warriors 3 years ago isn't about his legacy or anything like that, but has more so to do with the basketball spirits telling him to join the Golden State Warriors. I'm from Washington, D.C. I went to Oklahoma City for 8 years. Out of nowhere, I went to the Bay Area for 3 years. I've been roaming my whole life. I've never had a stable environment, ever. Since I woke up, I've sacrificed a lot of stuff to be here, and it changed my game up with these guys, and it was worth it. I came here knowing for a fact that every media member, every fan was going to call me every name in the book for however long I was here, and I was going to take the brunt of everything. I knew that coming here, but I wanted to be a part of this so bad. I didn't care. Same with LeBron. He took all that heat no matter what. I enjoyed the way they played basketball. I've never played with shooters like that. That move. They were versatile players. I wanted to be a part of that. My game was talking to me, not that other stuff. The spirit of the game was talking to me, not the spotlight or the fame that comes from being the best player, not the legacy. I swear on my life that don't mean nothing to me. I just want to play great basketball every second I'm on the court, and that was the perfect opportunity for me to do so. Now we're just going to ignore the fact that Kevin Durant was speaking in this interview as if his time with the Golden State Warriors might be coming to an end, talking about how he's been a roamer his entire life. But like I said in the beginning, Kevin Durant has been defending his decision to join the Golden State Warriors ever since he joined the Golden State Warriors 3 years ago, whether it be defending himself to the media or defending himself to the fans. And even though Kevin Durant might be one of the greatest to ever do it, he's one of the most skilled players that the league has ever seen. But the fact that he feels the need to continuously defend his actions, I think it might mean internally he's just trying to actually defend what he did to himself. He might be questioning whether or not he made the right decision. Here's the thing, if Kevin Durant really did want to play with Stephen Curry, he really did want to play with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and everyone else on the Golden State Warriors, then just accept that and live with it. There's no need for you to be continuously defending your move to the Golden State Warriors 3 years later. It's been 3 years. You don't need to defend this anymore. For our next story of the day, Ben Simmons just kind of redacted the previous statement that he made after the Philadelphia 76ers lost to the Brooklyn Nets in Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. Ben Simmons received some boos from the home crowd in Philly because of the way that he played. And you remember that Ben Simmons told Philadelphia 76ers after that game that if they're going to boo him for a performance like that, to make sure that they stay on that side. AKA, if you're going to boo me, make sure that you never cheer for me.
I mean, if you're going to boo, then stay on that side. So I feel if you're a Sixers fan, you're going to boo, stay on that side.
But yesterday, maybe after realizing that that might not have been the best thing to tell Philadelphia 76ers fans, Ben Simmons once again kind of redacted that statement and instead put out a statement fan that he feels Philadelphia 76ers fans might enjoy more. As Simmons said, it's Philly. That's what's going to happen. I mean, I love it. That's how Philly is. If you can't play, they're going to give you crap, and they talk crap. That is what it is. If you're not playing well, they're going to let you know. Yeah, I think this is more or less the response the Philadelphia 76ers were looking for in the first place. But I also feel like this was a statement that Ben Simmons had to make, even if he may still feel the same way he did after Game 1 when he told those Sixers fans they were booing him, to make sure that they stay on that side. Because in the playoffs, if you're Ben Simmons, the last thing that you want to do is start beef with the fans. Why are you trying to be beefing with the fans who are going to be rooting you on during the playoffs? That's the last distraction that you need for yourself. Next up in the news, the Boston Celtics are probably the biggest wild card in the Eastern Conference this year. Before the season started, everyone was expecting them to be right up there as one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. But after a very up and down season, the Celtics barely finished as the 4th seed. But seeing as to how they have all of their talent on the roster necessary to compete, the only question with the Celtics was, can that talent actually come together? And to start out their first game of the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers at home, it was looking like the answer to that question might have been no, as Boston got off to a god-awful start, only scoring 38 points in the first first half. Luckily for them though, the Pacers just didn't have the offensive firepower in order to capitalize on Boston's slow start. And in the second half, the Celtics turned up the defensive intensity a ton, especially Kyrie Irving. And because of that, they were able to limit the Indiana Pacers to just 29 second half points and come away with a low scoring 84-74 win. Kyrie Irving and Marcus Morris both scoring 20 points on the night. As for Indiana, I feel terrible for this team because they just don't have the firepower to compete. They were doing a good job defensively against the Boston Celtics, and of course the Boston Celtics did a good job defensively against the Pacers, but without Victor Oladipo, they just don't have that guy that they can turn to and say, you know what, we need someone to get this offense going, we need someone to go out there and get a bucket. The Indiana Pacers are really going to struggle to score against this Boston Celtics team unless someone steps up, and I'm not quite sure who that someone is going to have to be. For our next story of the day, the Portland Trail Blazers were clearly looking to make a statement in their first game yesterday against the OKC Thunder. Damian Lillard saying many times over that the Blazers were embarrassed and humiliated for how they got swept in the playoffs last year. So they're playing with something to prove, and you could see that early on as they almost scored 40 points against the Thunder in the fourth quarter alone, and in the end they did come away with a 104-99 game 1 win. Enes Kanter, who was starting for the Blazers in place of the injured Yusuf Nurkic, was phenomenal from the opening tip, finished the game with 20 points, 18 rebounds, and a pair of blocks as well. As for the OKC Thunder, we do have some pretty bad news regarding Paul George, as he has been dealing with an injured shoulder ever since the All-Star break, and we got reports out from Paul George himself yesterday in which he said that 4 days ago, he wasn't even able to lift up his arms. That's how messed up his shoulders were. And the first time he was even able to shoot a basketball in the past 4 days was during the game yesterday.
Physically.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we got great looks. Great looks all night. For me, it's just rhythm. You know, 4 days ago, I couldn't even lift my shoulder. And then fast forward to today, you know, it's the first day I shot the ball. So with me, it's just rhythm. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get shots up and get back in tune, and we're gonna, you know, try to get the same looks that we got tonight.
And the fact that Paul George wasn't able to shoot leading up to the game was very evident in his play, as even though he was getting good looks that he would typically knock down, he only shot 8 of 24 from the field. So it does suck that Paul George isn't close to 100%, but there is a bright side to this for the OKC Thunder, and that is that despite Paul George not being able to shoot in this game, as well as despite the fact that the Blazers came out playing some extremely inspired basketball, that they only lost by 5 points. That's the good news here for the OKC Thunder. Next up in the news, well then, I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and act like I expected this game to turn out anything different from the way that it turned out. I knew this was coming. It just sucks that it actually happened. I was just hoping that the feelings that I had inside me, that the fact that we were going to get destroyed, were true, but it turns out that they weren't, as the Detroit Pistons got absolutely annihilated by the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, the Pistons literally got thrashed mercilessly. At no point did the Bucks let up for even a second to let the Pistons think they would have a shot in this one. 121-86, the final score, nearly a 40-point blowout. For the Pistons though, there was no Blake Griffin, but realistically here, Blake Griffin by himself isn't close to enough to saving the Pistons in this series, and maybe that is why we're now getting reports out saying that it's likely for Blake Griffin to miss this entire series against the Milwaukee Bucks. I guess why make Blake play if Blake playing injured isn't going to change the outcome of the series. So Blake Griffin did say after this game that if it were up to him and not the Pistons medical staff, that he would have played yesterday. Interesting moment in this one though, as Andre Drummond was ejected for shoving Giannis Antetokounmpo in the back during the third quarter. Now clearly this was a flagrant 1 foul. That's what I thought when I saw it, but I think a flagrant 2 might have been a bit excessive in my eyes, but it didn't really matter though, as the outcome of this game was already decided at that point. By the way, it does pay me to report this because he is one of my favorite players in the league, but Andre Drummond in this game did make NBA history for all of the wrong reasons, as during the 26 minutes it was out there in the basketball court, Andre Drummond just set an NBA playoff record for the worst plus minus ever Yeah, ever, as Andre Drummond was a minus 45 in this game, barely nudging out the previous record holder Draymond Green and his negative 43. And lastly for the day, the Utah Jazz drew the short end of the stick just like the Los Angeles Clippers did, I suppose, as I think Utah would have wanted to see any team besides the Houston Rockets in round 1 since it's such a bad matchup for them. And this game went just as you might expect, with the Rockets being able to clinch the easy 122-90 win behind James Harden and his 29 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. And head coach of the Rockets, Mike D'Antoni, after the game at least did acknowledge that the Jazz tried their best to stop Harden and get him out of his comfort zone. But D'Antoni also said that Harden is just so good on offense that there's literally nothing that the Jazz will be able to do to stop him. They throw something at him and they might get him off a little bit, and then he figures it out and they don't have him anymore. He's so good offensively, it makes me laugh. He's just so good. I don't know what you do. You're not stopping him. I don't care what you do. I think it's clear to see that Mike D'Antoni is loving every second that he gets to coach James Harden, as the two of them, coach player-wise, just seem like they were made for each other. Since D'Antoni has an affinity for gifted offensive players, and there's no doubt that Harden is as good as they come when it comes to the offensive end. Anyways, that is going to cover everything that we gotta talk about today. If you guys did enjoy this video, you already know what I needed to do. Go ahead and absolutely destroy that like button, as well as make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on future videos. That being said, we got a couple of games going down tonight, so you guys can expect to see me right back here tomorrow covering everything that happens in the NBA tonight. Until then though, you guys already know that you are the real MVPs, so keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!